Good Morning Gwinnett presents the Friday Morning Mingle, the show hosted by the women of the Thrive Tribe, sponsored by the Gwinnett Women's Chamber of Commerce. Check out the ladies every Friday morning at 10 a.m. as they talk about their real life as an entrepreneur. If you miss an episode, be sure to go to www.goodmorninggwinnett.com to listen to past shows. Sit back and enjoy.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to another episode of the Friday Morning Mingle. I am one of the hosts of the show, Audrey Bell Kearney, and thank you so much for joining us. You know, this is something that we started about a month ago. And the Friday Morning Mingle is an extension of Good Morning Gwinnett, which is a show that I do 4 days a week live, audio only. And this was an extension of that show. So I'm excited to be here with you again today. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. It is Friday. And I know somebody's saying, thank the Lord it's Friday. I get it. I understand. Even though Saturday is kind of like my day off. Friday used to be my day off because because I work so much. I'm always trying to figure out what's my next day, what's the next thing I got to do. So I really decided to take a day off. And Saturday is like my real kind of day off. However, there are times where I have to have meetings on Saturday. So, but I'm happy. I'm happy it's Friday too, because I do look forward to just doing nothing tomorrow, just relaxing and just watching some TV and just, I know somebody saying, Audrey, that's a waste of time. It is, but I need it. I need it for myself. I need a mental break for myself. And so I'm going to be taking some time tomorrow just to sit back and chill, like Netflix, and chill all the way out. Um, so the Friday Morning Mingle is really composed of me and some of the women from the Gwinnett Women's Chamber of Commerce. I launched a chamber with my good friend Georgette Taylor in 2000 this year, March 2023. So right now we're almost, I think, 5 months old. And we got together, some of the women and I got together, and we decided to do the Friday Morning Mingle, something that I've been thinking about doing for a while. Just had not, thought about exactly how to lay it out. Like I've done video on Good Morning Gwinnett before and was trying to figure out what's the format, how am I going to do it, things like that. And so, finally we got together and said, let's do it. Here's the thing. I love what I do. And this is going to be a continuous part of Good Morning Gwinnett. Even when it's just me by myself. So I don't want to say get used to just saying me by myself, but if you have to, know that this is something that's near and dear to my heart, and I'm excited about that. So right now we're streaming on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Amazon. Yes, we are streaming on Amazon. Shout out to everybody watching on Amazon. Good morning. Today we're going to be talking about imposter syndrome. That is one of the things that a lot of women in business struggle with. They struggle with imposter syndrome. I know for me, I've struggled with that. And here's the reason why. Because sometimes when things just look so good, like too good to be true, you almost don't believe that they're meant for you because you feel like you don't deserve it. You don't know enough. And I used to struggle not so much with imposter syndrome about not knowing enough, because the things that I know are the things that I definitely deep down in my spirit know. Like I know what I know. There will be other things like, like I don't like networking because I felt like, it's in certain rooms. Like I felt like, okay, this room is a little bit above me. And so I would feel like this is not my place. But I overcame that. And the way that I overcame that was really just putting myself out there more and more and more, and just being really confident in what I know. Like the things that I know, the things that I believe, I was really confident in that. And I put myself out there. And when I know what I know, it was easier for me not to have imposter syndrome. I work with a lot of women because I am the president of the Greater East Side Chamber, the women's, not the greater. I used to be the vice president of the Greater East Side Chamber. I am the president of the Gwinnett Women's Chamber of Commerce. So I work with a lot of women. A lot of times these women, they are facing imposter syndrome. And I remember launching the chamber. When I first launched, I had a couple women come to me. One woman came to me and said, I almost didn't come. And I said, why not? She said, because I didn't feel like I belonged. And I was like, why not? Well, she didn't feel like she was at the level. Now when I launched the chamber, we had a room full of almost 100 women in that chamber. And I was so excited because so many women came out, but I expected to get at least half of them to join like that day. Well, I felt like after talking to a few of them, I realized that we launched at a very high level because we are a high level chamber. Like we are high level women in business, and we launched the chamber at a high level. And some of the women felt like they were not there yet. they felt like they couldn't benefit. And I bet you if I had a chance to sit down and talk to them, I bet you 90% of them would fit in perfectly because they know what they know, and but they're just not confident in what they know. I talk to so many women who know what they know, like they're experts at it, and they still suffer from imposter syndrome. And I tell people, and I had to learn this myself, when you are at least 3 steps ahead of someone, you are an expert to that person. And so you may not be able to talk to the person that's 10 steps ahead of you, but if you are 10 steps ahead of somebody else and they need your help, you're an expert to them. You know, and here's the thing, if you feel like you need more training, then get more training. But what I will say is don't spend so much time training, and that's all you're doing. That's all you're doing is just being educated to death. Don't do that. I'm not saying don't learn your craft, because definitely you need to know your craft, right? You need to know what you know. I spend a lot of time looking at content marketing, I'm looking at videos, looking at AI, delving into tech. I spend a lot of time doing that. And the reason I do that is because I have to be an expert in my space. So I don't mind spending time doing that. But that's how you overcome imposter syndrome. You spend time learning your craft. Because here's what happened. If you don't know what you say you know, people are gonna know that you don't know what you say you know. Then you're gonna look very inauthentic. Then you're gonna look like a scam artist because you don't know what you say you know. Everybody who knows me, the first thing they associate me with is podcasting. Why? Because I've been doing it for so long. I've been doing it since 2009. And so, and I just got an invitation just yesterday to speak at a conference. I speak at a podcast conference. Why? Because I'm always speaking at conferences. Why? Because my podcast, Good Morning Gwinnett, not this version, but Good Morning Gwinnett, is a hyper local podcast that is 5 years old. I have recorded almost 1,000 episodes. I'm very close to 1,000. I think I'm about 30 episodes away from 1,000. So I'm very close to hitting 1,000 episodes. And so people know me for that. Why? Because I podcast live now 5 days a week. This is a video podcast. So I'm doing that all the time. So when people come to me, they know I know what I'm talking about. Why? Because I live what I do. I do it all the time. When it comes to being in business, I've been an entrepreneur for 26 years. Did I bump my head plenty of times? Yes. So people who want to start a business, they come to me. You know why? Because I've been an entrepreneur for 26 years and I have had plenty of ups and downs. So because I've put in so much time, it doesn't allow me to feel like, I have imposter syndrome. Now there are times when I have to go before certain groups that I feel like not imposter but fear, right? Fear that they don't get it, fear that I won't do well because of the group that I'm speaking in front of, but not so much as imposter syndrome, because I am who I say I am, and people who know me, they know me for what I say I do. So they know me for being an entrepreneur. They know me for being a podcaster. They know me for those things because I do it every single day. I just told y'all I have to try to take a day off on Saturdays. Like I have Sundays, I'm not off. I'm not off on Sundays. I don't start work early, but I'm not off. And the reason I'm not off is by choice. I'm not off because Sunday is a good day for me to think, right? So with the Gwinnett Women's Chamber of Commerce, we do a think tank every other Sunday where we get together virtually online and we hash out problems that the women in the chamber of having. I do that every Sunday, every other Sunday. So Sundays are not off days for me. And I also, if there's something, if I want to do a training, if I'm doing a podcast training, I do a lot of podcast training. I train a lot of people on how to start podcasts. I'll normally do it on a Saturday, on a Sunday, because people are relaxed. People have gone to church, they've gotten the word, now they're there, and now they want to figure out how to start a podcast. So I would normally do my podcast training on Sundays. So I live what I say I do, and that's what you got to do. If you are the person right now thinking, oh my God, I really want to grow my business, I really want to make this happen, but I just don't feel like I'm good enough. I'm telling you, you're good enough. You're going to have to build your good enough muscle right now. You're going to have to build that muscle up. And here's the thing, study if you have to study. Do what you have to do so that you can feel good enough, but don't overdo it. You don't have to keep going. I know people, their whole life is about going to school. They got to get this degree and that degree, and it's never enough. It's never enough because, and I know that's a form of, I'm not good enough. I got to be better. I need all these titles behind me. I need all these certifications behind me. That's because they have imposter syndrome, because they really feel like nothing they do is good enough, nothing they do is like better. They can't serve people, and you can serve people. People need your help. They need your expertise. They need who you are. They need you. They're waiting for you to show up. They're out. Your people are waiting for you to show up. And until you start putting yourself out there, they'll never find you. And I can tell you, if you are an entrepreneur, if you are an author, if you are a podcaster, if you are a blogger, you have to put yourself out there. You have to let people know that you're out there. You have to be seen. That's why content is so important. Like you're listening to me right now. It's 9:11 in the morning, right? And it's supposed to be me and some other women, but I guess everybody's running late this morning. So I have no problem talking to you guys. I do this every day. If you go to goodmorninggwinnett.com and you listen to the podcast, you hear me every single day by myself, putting out content, playing music, doing the horoscopes. Why? Because it's my business, it's what I love. So I don't have a problem doing that. That allows me to get very comfortable talking to people, whether I'm talking to people in person or whether I'm talking to people on video. It allows me to become very, very, very comfortable talking to people because I'm doing it by myself. And that, let me tell you something. In the beginning, it was hard for me to do it by myself because it's like, okay, I'm not talking to anybody. I don't have anybody to bounce anything off of. And I didn't. But because I kept doing it and kept doing it now, and listen, 2009, podcasting was just kicking off. Now it's this huge industry. So I've been doing this for a very long time. When I started out in 2009, Georgette was my co-host. So we bounced these things off each other. We had guests on the show. So it was a little bit different. And then when I decided to launch Good Morning Gwinnett. So for those of you who are watching from around the world, and thank you to everybody on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, and Amazon. Amazon is always my biggest audience. Shout out to everybody on Amazon. Thank you so much for watching. Good morning, honey. My husband is watching from Amazon. Good morning, honey. Um, when I started out, it was just me. But when I started Good Morning Gwinnett, I was like, okay, how am I going to do this so I can do it continuously? Well, I started just doing it. You have to start just doing things so you can get beyond the fact that you have this imposter syndrome. You are good enough. I'm telling you, you are. If you know how to bake a cake, let me tell you something. I can't bake a cake to save my soul. No, well, not, I'm going to take that back. I can bake a cake. Can I bake a delicious cake? I don't know. I don't know. But there are people out there that can bake a cake that will make you want to slap your mama, right? And so they can teach the person like me who can't bake a cake. They're 5 steps ahead of me, and I guarantee you, they know everything that I don't know. They know how to put the flour in the right way. They know how to put the milk in the right way. How many eggs go in? They know all of that stuff. They know that stuff. I don't know that. Like I have to read the box. They bake from scratch, and I guarantee you, somebody's feeling like I don't know if I'm good enough. You are good enough. You are. You are. I see one of my other co-host is about to join me. I'm just waiting for her to pop a video on. Once she do that, I'll bring her up on stage, and we're going to keep talking about imposter syndrome and how to overcome that. And I always say the way to overcome imposter syndrome is to just know your stuff. I interviewed a lady one time. I had a show in Jersey when I was living in New Jersey. It was called Women in Business Today. And this woman, she aggravated me so much she wanted to be a guest on the show. I want to be a guest. I want to be a guest. I want to be a guest. So finally, I invite her to come to the radio station. I was on traditional radio at the time. I invite her to come to the radio station to be a guest on the show. She was a part of a company that did cosmetics. So she wanted to come. She wanted to be a guest on the show. So I invited her to come to be a guest on the show. I was inside the studio. The station manager went out to greet her. And when the station manager came, so in the traditional radio show, y'all, so I'm in one room with the microphones, and then the station manager is behind glass wall with the boards. So I didn't have to work the boards. And so she's behind the glass. So when she comes back in and she goes, my station manager, she comes back in, she goes behind the glass screen to talk to let me know that the guest is here. She's making a face. I'm like, why is she making that face? So she's making a face like a really crazy face. So when a woman comes into the studio to sit down to talk to me, she looked like she just rolled out the bed. And I'm looking like, what in the world? She just got up, like her hair was, she was busted. So during the interview, which is a live radio interview, on a Saturday morning. During the interview, I'm asking her about her products, what makes your product different. So I asked her that question. She said, "Oh, all of our products have aloe vera." And I said, "Okay. Okay, so now I'm asking her, okay, so now, there are companies out there that are like your company, and so they're your competition. What sets your products apart from the competition? Oh, all of our products made with aloe vera. Okay, so I know your business is about bringing women into the fold, into your business, and there are other companies that now I was referring to one company because at the time maybe two. It was one company that owned the market, right? There's one company that owns the market, and I said to her, um, as soon as Letitia pop her video on, I'll bring her up. She's in the studio waiting for me. Gotta pop your video on, honey. I can't see your video. Um, there you go. But I asked her, I said, what makes your your everything. I asked her, what makes this, what makes that. Only thing she would say is it's made with aloe vera. And so finally I said to my husband, like later on, I said, how would you think about the show? And he said, well, I didn't know what she was selling. I thought she was selling aloe vera. I said she was selling makeup. He's like, yeah, but I couldn't tell because all she was talking about was aloe vera. And I said, I know. I said, which is funny because you would think that she would talk about skincare, and you would think that she would talk about, all of these things. Here's the thing. She didn't know anything about her business. Now, but here's the thing about her. She didn't have imposter syndrome. She was like, I'm going and I don't know a doggone thing but aloe vera. That's all I'm going to say. And through a 30-minute episode, all she talked about was aloe vera. Now, when she left the station, my station manager said, Audrey, I wouldn't buy anything from her. Did you see her? And I was like, I know. It's like she come to do a makeup interview and she looked like she just rolled out of the bed. So I just wanted to share that story with you because she didn't have imposter syndrome. She didn't know what she was talking about, but she didn't have imposter syndrome. She didn't know her products or her services, but she didn't have imposter syndrome. She didn't even know about her company, but she didn't have imposter syndrome. She was like, I'm gonna do it no matter what. I'm gonna do it ugly. And sometimes you just gotta do it ugly. Welcome, 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 my sister. Listen, she's been over in Arizona. Did you go to the best?
Good morning, everyone. My apologies for being late. Still trying to get back into the swing of things with this 3 hour difference, but I'm back. Ooh, yesterday was definitely a hard one. That was my first day back. But today, man, it's amazing what a little rest will do for you. It is amazing. So I'm back. I'm feeling better. I feel like I look better. I looked a mess yesterday. So good morning, everyone. Good morning.
So, but before we go on talking about this imposter syndrome thing, let everybody know who you are and what you do. I did my introductions already.
Okay. Well, my name is Letitia Smith, and I am the CEO and founder of Premier Tax and Business Solutions. We work with small and mid-sized businesses and helping them in their finances. Being over almost 12 years in the business, it's like, I say all the time, just because you're in business doesn't necessarily mean that you should, because a lot of times you may be good at being a stylist, you may be a good singer, but when it comes to the business side of it, a lot of people not so much. So that's where we come in at. We help them to restructure their financing and help to educate them about different things they can do, not just from a tax strategy, but to make sure that their business is marketable and sellable at some point if that's what they desire to do. I am also the new author of So You Think You Want to Be a Boss. I'm very excited about that. It's a little bit of my story, but also a guide. I wanted to give people some ideas of things to think about, especially if they're already in corporate America and they're thinking about transitioning into being a boss, what that really looks like. I know Audrey and I and the rest of the women, sometimes we make it look easy, but we can assure you it absolutely is not. It's rewarding. Don't get me wrong, it's very rewarding, but there's a lot that comes into being a boss on a daily basis. So thank you so much. Look forward to being able to continue to build. We on our road. Audrey has put it out there for us to reach 1 million women. So I'm just happy to be a part of the team to be able to do just that.
So listen, we were supposed to be talking about dating while single, but here's the thing. So Leticia said, "Are we not talking about that?" Well, here's the thing. I didn't know if I was going to be the only one on the show this morning because I started getting text messages. I'm sick. I can't make it. I'm all these things, and I'm like, well, I'm definitely not single, so I can't really talk about dating while being single and busy. So I had to flip. I had to pivot, y'all. I had to pivot real quick. So we were supposed to be talking about imposter syndrome. I think that's next week. So now I had to pivot, and I'm gonna have to go back and edit all the graphics and all that stuff because I'm definitely not talking about dating while single. We'll be talking about that next week.
Okay.
I couldn't talk about it. I'm not single and busy. I'm
You're
married and
not.
busy.
You're not.
Now, if the title was like dating, like uh uh uh, uh doing business while you're busy and in a relationship, I could have did that, but it was saying singles. I was like, okay, I don't know if I'm gonna be the only one showing up right now because right now I'm the only one doing all the talking. So listen, I know you guys are waiting to see about dating while single and busy, but that's gonna be next week. And I apologize, but I didn't want to talk about a subject that I can't really talk about because I'm not dating or single. So I am busy, but the other two I'm not. So I'm gonna edit everything out so it is gonna reflect the imposter syndrome. And then next week we'll talk about dating while single. So if you're tuning in right now, shout out to Amazon. Amazon is always on fire. Shout out, love you guys on Amazon. Hey, check out our books there. Pie Chicks, that's my stuff. The books are in the shopping cart. Letitia book is there. My book is there. Ebony's book is there. She's not here. And see, they're single. So I was just gonna be kind of like the person that's kind of talking. But anyway, um, I'm talking about imposter syndrome today because I felt like, I had to pivot. So that was the next topic up for next week. So now I got to do some editing. I talked about me suffering from imposter syndrome. Can you share a little bit about how you overcome? I don't know. Have you ever had imposter syndrome?
I'm going to be honest with you, and you can help me with this. When we're talking about imposter syndrome, I look at it from a few different angles. One of them, I'm thinking that it's not really believing that you yourself are in or can handle what you're doing. Feeling like you're a fraud, feeling like this is just not you. Is that kind of the lines that we're on with that?
Yes. Yeah.
So I would say then, if that is the case, I suffer from that constantly. I feel like that's all part of the process of being an entrepreneur. And the reason why I say is because at the end of the day, I can only speak for me and my story. This is new for me. I did not have a blueprint before I became an entrepreneur into what to do and what not to do. I don't have a blueprint on that. So for me, I had to create what that looks like. And so in the process of creating what it looks like, you kind of do feel like you're a fraud because you have no idea what it really is.
Yeah.
So you're going off of research, possibly conversations you've had with someone else, conversations you've had with your friends, which a lot of times they don't know either because guess what? They're not entrepreneurs. So in those moments, yes, I have suffered from imposter syndrome. And then when you get to the point where you start being successful, you're like, wow, I'm being successful based off of my own research and ideas, not even knowing if these things were actually true or not, but something is working because I am experiencing some success. So I would say for me, there are pockets of times when I do feel like I am suffering from that because I was never exposed to what it looks like. And these are the steps. And so I can check off the steps and with confidence knowing, okay, yes, I am this way because this is what was done by someone else and they were successful. And I'm just following the blueprint, if that makes sense.
It does. And it's cool that you said that there are things that you went out and learned. And that's what I was talking about earlier. Like the way to overcome that for me, if you say you do something, then you need to know how to do that thing. Like when people come to you, they know bookkeeping, they know taxes, they know small business strategies for money, they know financial fitness, they know that stuff. Why? Because you do it all the time. It's these people that pop up, they read one book and then they become experts. And then as soon as somebody asks them a question, they're challenged. But here's the thing, put the 10,000 hours in. Put the 10,000 out, put them 10,000 hours in, and then you can get it done. Now
Mhm.
you can become an expert. Now you don't have to put in, you don't have to say that, I don't feel like I'm worthy. Put it in, get the time in, learn the thing that you say you want to do. Because that's all it really takes, because there's always somebody two steps behind you. And they're looking for you. They are waiting for you to show up. And here's the thing: you may say to yourself, "Well, somebody's already doing it." They probably are, because it's 7 billion people on the planet. So 9 times out of 10, somebody does what you do. Here's the thing: they're not you.
Right, right,
They're
right.
they're not you. And we can talk about the exact same thing. We can coach people in the exact same industry, and people will look at me and say, I don't like the way Audrey wear her hair. She wears sideways. I don't want to work with her. I don't like that. She wear glasses. She can't see. That because people are funny like that.
They are. And that's the funny part. Is like, forget that you're an expert in your field and you have all this knowledge and all this experience. Like I said on a previous call, like we're live right now. A lot of people, instead of listening to what we were saying, they're looking like, why her background looks like that.
Right.
Why
Right.
she has on those colors. Those colors doesn't. And it's like, this is what you choose to focus on. Seriously,
Yep.
not the information that we're sharing with you, not our stories, not the fact that you have two successful African American women. Let me say that again: two successful African American women that is sharing and pouring into you with no real expectations from you, and you choose to not take advantage of the knowledge. Make that make sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So that being said, people work with people that they like for whatever reason. I remember when I was doing the
Right.
doll company, right? We had 3 dolls. We had a black doll, we had a white doll, and we had a Hispanic doll,
Mm-hmm.
right? My black doll sold the best, but she sold the best to white women. And I had to ask, like, why do you guys buy this doll versus the white doll, which I thought they would have bought? And they was like, oh, she's ugly. She's a big white girl. She's ugly. And I was looking like, in my mind, I'm thinking, ma'am, they are made from the exact same mold. Like exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Like the mold is the only difference was the skin color. And I thought for sure she was a white doll. She had green eyes or blue eyes or something. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought they would love her. They hated her. And they would
Wow.
only buy the black doll. And so my Hispanic doll, she was in between. She had the Hispanic looking skin. She had like the brunette kind of hair. So she was in between. They only bought her for 2 reasons. Her name was Dina, and her color, the color she was wearing was purple. Never because it was the nuttiest thing.
Wow.
But people buy things that resonate with them. So you can be a coach, you could be an accountant. There could be 1 million other coaches and accountant. And you
Mm-hmm.
may say to yourself, well, I'm not good enough. They're already doing it. They're already helping people. Somebody does not like them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking directly into the camera. Somebody won't like them for whatever the reason. They won't
Right.
like them. And they will work with you because it's something about them. I just can't put my finger on it.
Right. Right. Right.
Can't put my finger on it. It's just something. Her demeanor. It's something. It's something. I saw you see his shoes? Something.
Right.
He's too
Right.
flashy. It's gonna be something. So you don't have to worry about not feeling good enough to serve the people who need your help. You don't have to worry about that, because they will show up. And when they show up, you just need to be ready. They can't show up and you're gonna have I want to say something else. We're trying to keep it PG because YouTube will slam us. You can't show up half behind, right? You got
Mm-hmm.
to show up right. You got to show up correctly. So you
Mm-hmm.
got to know what you know. I was talking about, like, Letitia, if somebody came to you and say, what is a P&L? She sent my P&L out the other day, right, y'all? I need to open it up and look at it. Until that point, I hadn't gotten a P&L. I'm just keeping it 100% real. I'm like, okay, so I need to open up my P&L and look at it.
Mm-hmm.
They,
You know, going back to, let me pivot back to the imposter syndrome, and I want to answer that question. So when you were talking just now, two things came to mind. One, when you were talking about the dolls, I feel like in that moment, I believe also, and again, just in my opinion, people were suffering from imposter syndrome, and instead of choosing the doll that represented them the most, they chose a doll that was the exact opposite. And it was like, but this is the reason why these dolls exist, is to be able to help you stand into your own and to be confident about the woman that you are. But you're not confident in the woman that you are. So instead of reacting and getting something that will help you with that, you do the exact opposite. So that's an example. So my second thing was, well, then how do you overcome imposter syndrome? So looking at the P&L that we just talked about, right? So that's profit and loss statement, and it just pretty much just categorize how profitable your business has been from one period to the other. For Audrey, we do hers on a monthly basis, which for me, I think if you are a business owner, in my opinion, you should never go 30 days without knowing whether or not your business is profitable. And then in some cases, really weekly, depending on what is it that you're trying to do, how busy you are with your business. So that number can change. And so part of overcoming the imposter syndrome in this situation is really understanding and knowing your numbers. If the idea and the goal for you is to be able to make money and to be able to make sure that you can take care of your family, then you have to know what that number look like. So in order to overcome the imposter syndrome in that case is to hold yourself accountable. How you hold yourself accountable is looking at this profit and loss statement and to see if the things that I said I was going to do 30 days prior, did any of those things come to fruition? And so if it did or it didn't, if it did in this example, then that's going to help you to overcome, because then it gives you some tangible numbers to say, hey, the things that I did, it worked. And here's my proof that it worked. So now if you can see that and you did the work and here's your proof, then that is part, in my opinion, of your way of overcoming imposter syndrome, because you have something tangible to help you see, yes, I did the work and these are the results. The other part of that is, let's say you didn't do the work and you didn't see the results that you wanted. That still helps you to overcome, because now you can get real with yourself and get clear. Listen, my business didn't make any money this month, and these are the reasons why. Again, now because you understand that, you can begin to put together a plan to help you make sure that the next 30 days doesn't look like the previous 30 days. Therefore, helping you in that situation also, in my opinion, to overcome imposter syndrome.
And the other thing too, stop trying to keep up with everybody else. Stop trying to keep up with
Right.
the Joneses. Stop measuring yourself against other people, because a lot of times you don't know what they have gone through to get to where they are. You don't even know if they are really where they say they are in the beginning. You think they are because that's what social media tells you, because that's what you see. But behind closed doors, you have no idea. And so you're measuring
Exactly.
yourself against this fictional person. Because in reality, if you don't personally know them, it's fiction, baby.
Mhm.
Let me say that one more time
I
because
I
somebody missed it. If you don't personally know them, what you see is fiction, all fiction.
Exactly. So when I was in Arizona, I was there for a National Association of Enrolled Agent tax summit. And we had one of our breakout sessions where one of the vendors wanted to share with us what their products were, because a lot of times that's what these conventions are. You get CE credits, you learn different things that's going on, upcoming tax issues, but also you have vendors that's there with the people that they directly want to sell products to. So in this session, there were two men in there talking about their business, and one of them in particular was talking about wanting to get to a point to where he wanted to retire from the business. So in the midst of this guy speaking, he's talking about he married his wife whose father owned a tax company. Prior to that, he had no knowledge about taxes. He had no knowledge about accounting. So his wife was working in the company. Then, because they started getting busy, the father-in-law asked him to be a part of it. You fast forward 20 years from now this business is a multi-million-dollar business to where he's making a lot of money, so much so that he's taking over and he's running the company. Therefore, he is in a position now to where he, in his words, I have a lot of toys. I have a couple of homes, I have, some cars, and I like to travel and etc. And so I'm listening to these gentlemen and I'm like, well, your story is absolutely not like mine. and not like everybody else is in this room either. And so going back to what you said before, if you are comparing yourself to that particular person, you're already doing yourself a disservice, because I said earlier, I literally started my business with nothing. I didn't come into an already established business, already established system, already making money and having a mentor to build you up to that. I didn't. And guess what? Most people do not. So if I am trying to compare myself to that person, I'm already setting myself up for failure already. And it irritated me. And I'm just going to be honest with you, because I'm like, you're not speaking for the average individual. You are the exception to the exception to the exception to the rule. That's not what reality is. So you can't speak to us in those terms. And of course, as I said before, I am passionate. So I was very verbal with that. And although other people did not voice that, as soon as I started speaking, then I kept getting the amen corner.
Because you did. I want to give a shout out real quick. Shout out to Felicia Ward. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Shout out to Barry Allen over on Amazon. Thank you, Barry, for joining us. Hey, listen, share the episode with your friends. Share the link with your friends. You guys appreciate that so much. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, listen, and that's another thing too, right? Sometimes people just need to hear somebody else say it because they have this fear. I can't say it. But like you said, his story is not your story. And most people don't start like that. And you don't know what people are doing behind the scenes.
Exactly.
Like if you walked a mile in our shoes, you probably would jump out at the quarter mile mark. You probably wouldn't even make a mile.
Okay.
You probably would jump completely out of our shoes, right? Maybe at the 8th mark. Yeah. At the quarter mile mark, it's like, yeah, I'm about to get up out of these shoes right here because I know this is about to be a long, hard, bumpy walk. Hi, Iris. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, this is Amazon. Love Amazon. We get a lot of people on Amazon all the time. Thank you for joining us on Amazon.
Thank you.
Listen, if you knew the walk that we walk, so just walk, pick your path, get on that path, stay on that path, become an expert on that path, and help the people that join you. Because there are going to be people that come on your path and say, look, I need help. Like I was saying earlier, Letitia, before you joined, anybody who knows me, they know that this is what I do. I'm doing a podcast 4 days a week. I'm almost at 1,000 episodes on Good Morning Gwinnett. This is an extension of Good Morning Gwinnett. This is the video extension because people know what I do. Like they know I'm a podcaster. They know I'm doing this 4 days a week live. Now I'm 5 with this. So I'm on my path. Now I've been on some other folks' path, following them, trying to be what they are. And let me tell you something, jumped off real quick. Oh, no. There's a tree in my way. Let me go this way. I can't do that because it wasn't my path in the first place. And so because of that, we get on other people's path. Then we find that, you know what? This is not happening the way it's supposed to happen. No, because it's not your path.
Right. And say that again. I think, again, that goes back to the imposter syndrome thing again. A lot of times, and we both can speak to that. Like she said previously, we are where we are now, but I can assure you it took us years to even get to this point. And then when we got to the point to when we realized, okay, this is the lane I want to stay in, it took years to be able to build that. And a lot of it is because of the imposter syndrome, the lack of, not lack of, but the fear, not really knowing what to do, and trying to figure it out. But also too, the thing is, and I'll be honest with myself, is looking at what other people are doing and thinking, okay, well, if I do this, that I'm going to be more successful a lot quicker in that area. Not realizing that it doesn't matter what vehicle you're in. It takes the same effort, the same time, the same dedication to make that be busy. So when Audrey is talking about staying in your lane, basically, she can say that definitively because she's had several different lanes. And if you're thinking about running track, right, there's like 8-10 lanes. It is impossible for you to be able to run in each of those lanes at the exact same time and win that race. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So you have to pick, am I in lane 1? Am I in lane 2? Am I in lane 7? Am I in lane 8? Whatever that lane is, and just be the absolute best that you can be in that lane. And here's the other thing. It is okay if you don't know everything. Let me speak into the camera. It is okay if you don't know everything.
Say it again.
It is okay.
It's okay, but you got to know. You got to know something,
Right.
right? You got to know something. You can't not just show up and be talking about. Listen. There's nothing I'm going to show up and talk about that I don't know about. I'm just not.
Exactly.
Now here's the thing. I know a little about a lot of different things, but I will tell you quick, fast, and hurry. Yeah, I don't know about that part. Even in the podcasting space, I'm there all the time, but there's still a whole lot of things I don't know. And I'm quick to tell you, I don't know, but I'll find out for you.
Exactly.
But you ask me the things I do know, I could talk to you all day long to the point where you become blue in the face and like, okay, well, you can stop talking now.
Exactly.
But that allows me to show up in my space. I don't have to feel like an imposter in my space.
Right.
Now, I may go to the Billionaires Boys Club and feel totally out of whack.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to someone yesterday, and she's a multimillionaire. She's funny. And so I was telling her when we launched the chamber that there were people who just said, you know what, I don't belong here. And she has let me tell you something. It's hilarious because she is uber successful, right? But she was like, I'll tell them, get on out of my face. I'm like, what do you mean? Yeah, you need to leave the room. It was so funny. No empathy. She was like, they need to leave the room. If that's how they feel they don't belong in the room, then they need to leave the room. And I was like, anybody that also knows me knows I have a heart. I'm trying to tell you why you should be in the room. She was like, yeah, they need to get out the room. It cracked me up because I was like, wow. She was like, if you trying to be in a room and you feel like you don't believe it, but you need to be in that room so you can learn. But if you say you don't feel like you belong there, then you need to get out of the room. I'm on the other hand, I'm from the school of, well, this is why you should be in the room. This is why you should stay in the room. She's like, no, let him go. And I thought that was so funny. But, that's how people think. And so for her, she feels I don't know if she suffered from imposter syndrome or not. I didn't get the inkling that she ever has, but she knows that I don't care who's in the room. If I want to be in that room, I'm be in that room, and I'm gonna learn from the people that even if I don't know what they know. And I think that's what a lot of people kind of forget that part. Like, even if you feel like an imposter, go anyway, because you never know who you're going to meet in that room. You never know what you're going to learn in that room. You never even know who you're going to help in that room. Because I'm telling you, everybody in the room is not on the same level with you. Even if you think they are, they're not. There is something that you know better than somebody in there. I've been in rooms. I've been in high profile tech rooms just recently. High profile tech rooms, right? I'm in the room talking about AI, and the woman has a multi-million-dollar company in tech, and I'm assuming that she knows about AI and podcasting, and she did not. And I'm sitting there going, well, really? And then I think it was you, Letitia, that said she know about what she know about, and she was in cybersecurity. So in my mind, she's in tech. She knows about AI and she knows about podcasting. Her mouth was open the entire time. She was like, and I'm thinking, you don't know that? There's always, I don't care what level they're at. If you know what you know, there's somebody in the room that don't know what you know. And she proved that to me. And I've been proving that over and over again. Audrey, you know what you know. They know what they know. So you assume that you don't belong in the room because they know more than you. I just figured she was in tech, so she had to know everything I knew and more. Her company is already at a multi-million-dollar global company. Did not happen.
Well, see, because I hear two things in that and what you said. So one, going back to the young lady that was saying if they don't feel like they should be in a room, then they shouldn't. That's a mindset thing. And you and I, we've had a lot of conversations offline about mindset, and I get it. And I get what she's saying. In that moment, if it's a mindset thing, there's absolutely nothing that I can say or do that's going to change your mindset. You showed up. You are here. Get what you can get out of it, and then work on building that mindset, because that is not something I can do. That is definitely a personal issue. So I get that. And I'm like you in that I want to tell you how great you are, and that because you are here, take advantage of this opportunity, and I want to encourage you. At the same time, too, while you are that person, be that person, but you also have to know, as you say, how to pivot and understand I can only give you so much. The rest you have to take yourself and build off of that. And the other piece to that is, like you talked about, the young lady who has a multi-million dollar IT company, and you figure, well, surely you know about podcasts, certainly you know about AI. And that's a dangerous thing. Like for me, I laugh a lot of times when I get clients asking me about something very specific into taxes. While I know a lot about taxes, I can assure you I don't know everything there is. The tax code is very, very specific in a lot of different areas. So you can have someone that is awesome in real estate tax law, and you can have someone that is awesome in just doing auditing businesses for taxes. Those are two totally different entities. They're still taxes, they're two totally different entities. So if you only specialize in one area, where it sounds like this lady specialized in cybersecurity, you're great at that. You can do that in your sleep. But you know you're in IT, but there's so many other areas of it, and it is always evolving. And again, that's okay too. And that's to prove that your point. This is why you need to be in the room. This is why you need to be in the room, because it gives you the advantage of hearing other people's perspective and to be introduced to things that outside of your own world. In this example of cybersecurity, you get to hear, oh, wow, I didn't realize that this is now available. Because guess what? As great as you're doing in cybersecurity, AI could very well impact your cybersecurity business. So therefore, you definitely need to be in the room to see how it can impact it. So now you're able to pivot with some knowledge instead of being there with your mouth wide open like,
right. And that's so important. So, I hope you guys listen. I know the title says dating while single and busy. That's because we were going to have a group of women. Some got sick, some got stuck, and Letitia was a little bit late, and I was like, well, I really can't talk to dating while single and busy because I am not that. So we're going to have dating while single and busy next week. So be sure to tune back in if you really want to know. I'm just going to be here. Like 3 of them ladies are single and busy. I'm just going to be here on the side. I'm be a little chick on the side over here while they talk about it, because they're the one that's navigating that. I'm not navigating that right now. So I'm going to go back. Listen, if you have joined us and you were waiting for us to talk about that, it is because we're not talking about it, because I had to change. I had to pivot, and we're talking about imposter syndrome. So we will be talking about it next week. So be sure to subscribe to the show. So if you're listening to us on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Amazon, we're going to update the show. Good morning, Carolyn. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to be updating that. So you will see that we're going to be talking about dating while single on the next episode, which is next Friday at 10:30. We'll be back at 10:30 next week. That's because I'm doing the show around my crazy schedule. So 10:30 next week, we'll be here. Any parting words before we jump off?
Well, I want to share with everyone, I don't know if you did in the beginning, that we are on our book tour. Part of what Audrey has shared with us, again, is our way of reaching 1 million women. And, she's always very modest, and I call her out on it every single time. But she just put it up there. She created a website for us called theinfluencertour.com. And when I tell you, every time I go to the website, I get jitters. I'm excited, obviously, but I get jitters because, once again, this is taking all of us out of our comfort zone. Okay. This is not what we actually started our businesses, but we've evolved to this and wanting to be able to utilize our stories, utilize our books, utilize our platform to really, truly be able to help the masses. And so it's a beautiful website. It gives you an awesome updated idea of all the things that we're doing, and created by our very own, our IT guru, our IT expert, that we 100%, not 60, not 70, 100% rely on her expertise to do it. Remember, I said earlier, You don't have to know everything. You just have to associate yourself with people who know more than you do. And when it comes to IT, Audrey is it. So we rely on her. Whatever she tells us, we just do it. And sometimes we don't even know that she's doing it like this. She just created and just told us, hey, check us out. And everybody was like, oh, okay, well, thank you. So yes, my parting words is just continue to follow us, And obviously, if there's a topic that you're wanting us to discuss that we have not touched on, reach out to us and tell us, hey, nobody is talking about this. Let's have that conversation.
Yeah.
While we're here and we're sharing our stories, again, at the end of the day, this is part of also a ministry. We're ministering to you guys the same way we're ministering to ourselves. So please let us know how we're doing, what else we can do to be able to help, what topics you would like us to discuss, and we're all in. I'm just grateful once again just to be a part of our great group of women with Gwinnett Women's Chamber and being on the Good Morning Gwinnett show. So thanks again.
If you have not joined us, please, by all means, join us. We are the Gwinnett Women's Chamber of Commerce. If you go to Facebook, it's the official Gwinnett Women's Chamber of Commerce. Check us out. But otherwise, go to GwinnettWomen'sChamber.com, GwinnettWomen'sChamber.com. I'm going to pop that up real quick so you guys can see that as well. We would love to have you. And yes, even if you don't live in the state of Georgia or the county of Gwinnett, you can still be a part of our community. Someone asked me the other day, Letitia, like, well, how can I get to the virtual classes? I was like, you got to be a member.
Exactly.
Like you have to be. They was like, oh, like, yeah, you can't get to the virtual classes because those are private classes. And we do 3 a month, 3 virtual. No, we do 2 on 2 Sundays, 2 Tuesdays, 2 Mondays, 6. So we do 6 virtual events a month, but it's just for members only. And so they were trying to figure out how to get in. I was like, yeah, you gotta be a member.
Right.
Membership has its perks. So
Absolutely.
if you are not a member of a chamber anywhere in the world, you can still join us. We have a wonderful time on our virtual events.
Absolutely.
We mastermind, we talk business, we create things. The books that are in our Amazon cart. So if you see our Amazon cart there, these are our books. So I am the author of You Got Something to Say. Letitia is the author of So You Want to Be a Boss. So you think you want to be a boss. And Ebony, who's also a member of the Chambers, is a member of Productive and Prosperous. That all came out of a mastermind virtual Sunday.
Yes.
We just say, you know what, we're gonna come up with $1 million idea and we're gonna do it. So that was an idea that came out of one of our virtual meetups. You have to be a member to be a part of that. If you go to the website, there are a ton of events. We had a man doing us yesterday at the breakfast, the middle of a money breakfast. And it was funny because he was like, well, I thought, I wasn't going to come because I thought it was all women. I said, well, I put up there, everybody's welcome. That includes you. I'm glad you came. Any of our events that you see on the website, anybody's welcome to come. The only event that men are not welcome to come to, and there's no slight to y'all, we just want to let our hair down a little bit, is our Potluck Wednesday. Now, unfortunately, fellas, that's not open to you. But all the other events, feel free. Pay your money, come on in. We welcome you. Speaking of that, I got some great news to announce later, but we'll talk about that next week. I gotta let my girls know first. And we got some great things happening. I'm excited. Oh, speaking of great things, the Georgia AI Summit. If you want to be a part of that, we're going to be talking AI for 2 days in January. If you think you know AI, holler at me. Go to Gwinnett, email me, audrey@noisemedia.us. We're looking for speakers to speak on AI. AI is taking over. I don't care what y'all say, it's taking over. You need to know how to leverage it. You need to know how to work with it. I saw a robot the other day. The robot was super smart. The robot was cutting the apple. I'm like, okay,
wow.
Yes. They told him about to cut the apple, and the robot cut the apple. They're gonna be in our homes. We need to understand them. They're gonna be in the house vacuuming and cleaning. All this, I really want to say something else, but I don't want you to distract me. They're gonna be doing all the stuff. I want to say the other word that we don't want to do.
Who thought the Jetsons would come to real life years later?
That's right. Yep. It's coming. So the Georgia AI Summit is happening. For more information about that, go to GeorgiaAISummit.com, GeorgiaAISummit.com, and you can find out more information. If you are a speaker in that space, please holler at me. Audrey@noisemedia.us. That's all we got for you today. Like, we're busy women. I got to go. I got another call to get on. I'm on the board on another company, so I got to go. go. But we enjoyed you guys joining us. Thank you, everybody on Amazon. Amazon be showing up, baby.
Yeah.
Hey,
Thank
listen,
y'all.
don't forget to put the books in. Listen, don't forget to put our books in your shopping cart.
Okay.
You want to do what I'm doing right now? Drop them books.
Absolutely.
But thank you all for listening. Thank you everybody on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, all you guys. Thank you for listening to us and joining us today. We'll be back next Friday at 10:30. So be sure to. All you gotta do is subscribe to the channels, subscribe to the social media, and as soon as we go live, it pops up. That's all you gotta do. Pops up. And remember, today was supposed to be dating while single and busy. It's gonna be next week. I'm gonna change the title in a few minutes to imposter syndrome, and I'm gonna fix the graphics. So don't worry about it. I'm gonna fix it in a few minutes. But thank you again, Leticia. Thank you again. I will talk to you in about an hour or so after I get off this next meeting I'm about to jump on.
Sounds good.
You guys have a wonderful weekend. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Until next time, my friends, until next time, y'all make it a great day and stay safe out there, okay? All right.
Absolutely.
Bye now.
Thank you for tuning in to the Friday Morning Mingle. If you enjoyed this episode of the show, be sure to subscribe to the show on your favorite streaming platform. If you would like to join a community of women who mean business, we invite you to become a member of the Gwinnett Women's Chamber of Commerce by going to www.gwinnettwomenschamber.com, or to become a member of the Thrive Tribe, go to www.thrivetribe.biz. Tune in next week for another great episode of the Friday Morning Mingle at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.